Signifying then it had to be played in.
Well, they had an extra man there, but he just got his head down, and it was very noticeable. Manchester United, when they did break down, they were very tired getting back, and you do feel that a substitution must be coming up very shortly, really.
Both the substitutes for United are forwards, Wallace and Robbins. And the substitution looks as though it is going to be made. Wallace is going to come on, and Robson, the number 7 was shown then, is going to come off. Brian Robson hands the captain's band to Steve Bruce and comes off to a tremendous ovation. Given his all, scored the equaliser. But in the end, was clearly running out of steam. Here's Ince. They need even more from Paul Ince, who's been the pick of the midfield, I think. Wallace hopeful of a first touch. New challenge for Barlow as an out-and-out winger, if that's the way he's being asked to play. First round to Barlow. Phelan. Slightly stubbed it, but it comes to Gibson. And it's Webb. There was a little hesitation, and Webb is engulfed. Came across to Gibson, it was slightly mishit, I think, but the early header in, and it was Webb. It came more off his forehead, the ball hitting that rather than the reverse. He was turning with a goalkeeper who decided to come late, and Manchester United have the lead. Neil Webb is their scorer. Goal in the 73rd minute, his second of the season. Will it take Manchester United to Wembley?
Well, what a substitution, eh? Danny Wallace out on the right there. He puts the cross over. Lee Martin nodded it back, and I think you can say Alex Ferguson made sure he took the right man off, because Neil Webb was still on the field. There, hit his head. I'm not sure he knew where it was going. Bobbled in the net. Hallworth came off the line to try and punch it, and there Alex Ferguson, well pleased now, suddenly 2-1 up.
Ritchie. Well, in the other semi-final, the supposed underdogs came back with a vengeance. What can Oldham do? Bodies in the area. It'll be a corner when it's all sorted out. Willie Donachie in the foreground, the former Manchester City player. Joe Royle's number 2. And Joe Royle with a comment to make, but not wanting at this stage to be seen too clearly. From his point of view, it was a poor goal to give away.
When you think all the queries about whether Brian Robson and Neil Webb were going to play, or one of them, or whatever, and suddenly, who's the 2 goal scorers today? For those.
Ferguson, maybe somebody up there does love him. He's lived on a knife edge all season, and it's a knife that's been increasingly sharp. Could all change for him. But here comes the corner. Barrett pulling away the corner far too short. Rick Holden, who's been a disappointment for Oldham. Barrett has gone forwards. Ince, Marshall, Andy Holden. Well, didn't hesitate. And we're into the last 15 minutes. The First Division side lead. Marshall. Ball went out. his skipper. Could be useful. Redfern needed Bruce to play it. The new skipper demanding concentration. Owen. Redfern got away. It's a good cross. Marshall! What an unbelievable day this is. It was a good cross. Redfern got away from Ince. It was half clear, but only to Marshall, who thumped it into the far bottom corner. And it's 2-2. Really did well then, Redfern. And so did Marshall. 2 goals inside 3 minutes. And once again, Wembley doesn't know who will be its second visitor in May.
Quite amazing, isn't it? Really, it's
free kick against Henry. Sorry to interrupt you, Trevor, but for a moment it looked as though Ince was going to make that.
One of those days where you can't linger for too long talking, because suddenly you'll end up with a goal in the net. But a lot of character, Oldham. In fact, they were going to just make a substitution themselves. Then Redfern made the opening. Marshall tucked it away, and I think we might just have had a temporary halt for that substitution, because suddenly now it's 2-2.
Paul Walhurst in the foreground. Five men in the wall. Webb takes it. Oh, they fell for that. Wallace out by Barrett. And if they were watching the first semi-final, they'd have seen Crystal Palace fall for that sort of thing. Wallace. And Palace came back. What about Oldham? Ritchie. Redfern. Marshall is underneath it. McClare. Ritchie trying to answer the cries of the crowd. Pallister. Just had a number of balls come to him that he's found the bounce unkind. Here's Milligan. Not the best of clearances by the Scottish goalkeeper. Holden. Becoming more of an influence. Came off Bruce. Martin. Ince. Run away from him. Ritchie and Bruce. Nicely trapped on the thigh. What a ball! He couldn't quite take it with the presence of Barrett, could Hughes, but it was a fine pass by Ince. Holden. Last 5 minutes have been his best. And again he gets the cross in. Well taken by Leighton.
Because, of course, when Danny Wallace came on and got pushed out wide on the right and moved Brian McClare inside to replace Robson, Brian McClare worked back very well to cut off a bit of the service to Holden, and suddenly Danny Wallace is not such a good defensive flank player, and he's not covering, and suddenly Holden's getting a lot more of the ball.
Ritchie's the player who stayed down. Paul Ince didn't stay for long. Ritchie on the deck. Holden. Cut out by Neil Webb. Ince. Wallace and Barlow. Colin Gibson's got forward, trying to get behind Holden. Didn't succeed. Great roars for a throw, level with the 18-yard line. Won by Pallister. Back by Barlow. Ince. Little Henry. And Webb saying to Wallace, go. If you're going to play, if you're going to bring on a wide player, then he's got to be prepared to make the run or the ball inside the back. Or is that too old-fashioned? Pallister's header. Webb, the centre forward. Gibson getting forward much more. He's forward of McClare here. Now Danny Wallace. The early cross, met by Holden. Ince. Wallace again, it's a good ball. Goal kick. Marshall holds it up. Barlow. Holden stays on the touchline. Play it to my feet. Marshall. Up comes Irwin. 4 blue-shirted players in the area, now 5, now 6. Redfern. Ayrton Hughes. Wallace. Webbed. Good block. Hughes hit Barrett. Ritchie. And Marshall is offside. Goodness me, John Hallworth did awfully well then. Parry down, shot from Hughes, hit Barrett. And suddenly Oldham were breaking, and at the end of it, Marshall was offside. And extra time gets closer and closer. And a substitution now to be made, and it's Paul Warhurst to come on in place of Nick Henry. 21-year-old replaced by a 20-year-old. Looks as though Warhurst is going to play in midfield. It's normally been the centre of the back four, and a former Manchester City player. It's hanging a bit in the air. Free kick is United's way. Martin going to take it. 5 United players on the edge of the 18-yard line. One of them is Bruce, who will now have to get back if Redfern can attack. Offside against Ritchie. And Ritchie so disappointed. Gave a bit of a warming to the air in the shadow of the stand. And we are 5 minutes away from extra time. Oh, what is it about the first year of a decade? 1980 there were a total of 3 extra replays, and it was won in the end, as we said at the start of this afternoon, by a second division side. Gibson. Barrett does well to recover. Oldham. Phelan deciding to meet the challenge early. Marshall is away, Ritchie in the middle, it's going to be played in. The ball bobbled a little unkindly for him, but in truth he wasn't totally in control of the situation. Ritchie wanted the cross, and perhaps he should have been given it. He was under pressure, he waited too long. I think he didn't know about anything or anybody else other than to have a crack at goal, and he left Ritchie without possession.
It was a great run. It did Gary Pallister, who's dived in one or two occasions this afternoon and left it clear. It was on his left foot, which isn't his favourite, and he did get a very nasty bobble just as he went to hit it. It really popped up knee-high, and although Andy Ritchie probably thought he should have had it square, he could easily have scored from that position if he'd ever hit it properly.
Redfern gets it back. Play on, good advantage allowed. Marshall. Away by Phelan. Holden. Good moment to block across. Holden will try again. Changes the angle. They're queuing up. Came off Marshall, there's a goal kick. And extra time is now just 3 minutes away. Foul by Holden. A little bit of pushing and holding down on Neil Webb. Hughes down the middle. McClare trying to bring Wallace into it. The ball was out. And the former Southampton player, one of the million buys, all of whom have been available today to Alec Ferguson. The little man from Southampton hasn't been able to really get in the match as Alec Ferguson would have wished. Inside the last 2 minutes. Hughes waits, Gibson is forward, so is Webb. Warhurst just reacted in time. Warhurst once more. This is a good run. He's one of the quickest around. Marshall. The early cross. Ritchie couldn't quite get enough height. Holden. Phelan takes the sting out of it. Warhurst came from Manchester City on a free transfer back in October '88. It's now down to seconds before the referee will signal an extra half an hour. Wallace, Webb, crosses early, Hughes, Irwin's clearance, Warhurst, little dangerous. Disappointed with Redfern's pass, but Redfern probably was breathing a little heavily then. He's played into a little bit of trouble by Warhurst. Hasn't always adjusted to the pace of the game, which is so difficult to do when you come on as a substitute. Marshall, Ritchie, where's the support? Ritchie makes a bit of time, but there isn't much of the 90 left. Redfern, it's a question of what the referee has allowed. A free kick to Oldham Athletic. Is there to be a sensational end to a hugely competitive and thoroughly entertaining contest which has demanded much of the players? It's curling harmlessly. lovely to see how all the time at either end where there are seats, people can't sit down, they've got to stand up. He has to sit down, Joe Royal at the back there. Two managers have been rather better at that than have Messrs Koppel and Dalglish, who stood up for most of the first semi-final. Referee looks over at his two linesmen, who have signalled that 90 minutes is up. Played Ritchie. Play on, says the referee, but Ritchie is hurt. Ince with the header. Still play goes on. And here's Danny Wallace, but the whistle now has gone. For the second time in the day, we have extra time. Both semi-finals going into extra time. Marshall getting the equaliser in the 76th minute. 3 minutes after Neil Webb had given Manchester United just a glimpse of those famous Twin Towers. 2-2, an extra half an hour is required, at least. Well, I think it's fair to say that the viewers, Jimmy Hill, have certainly had value for their money today.
Well, they certainly have, Barry. We're sitting here trying to work it out when we've known a day quite like this for goalmouth excitement. There are a lot of moans these days about lack of goalmouth excitement in football, but that's certainly not been the case throughout today. We have spotted, you spotted very well, a little push by Leighton, which should have been a penalty. Gibson, I think, could fairly claim that there might have been a penalty there. There could have been even more goals in this particular play. What the answer is going to be, I don't know. I would have to say that Oldham have been the most complete team. They've kept their shape better and they've kept their form better than United. Fergie's sort of saying that he's using electricians as plumbers and that he hasn't had his injured players so he could put a complete team. But it seems to me today that they are still slightly disjointed. And I must say that part of that irregularity, shall we say, is Mark Hughes' inconsistency up front. You never know what's going to happen when the ball's laid to him. Moves don't keep flowing for him in the way that they should for a first-class team.
I think that Trevor Booking would agree with that assessment. But tell me, Trevor, when Neil Webb scored, did you think it was going United's way?
Well, not after today, really, because here we have Danny Wallace just crosses it to the far. Lee Martin up for once, just floats in. Hallworth comes off, and then Neil Webb gets his head to it. Not too sure. He knows it's going in the general direction of the goal and is pleased to see it drift into that empty net. And then Redfern, who of course used to be at Crystal Palace, will want to play them against them in the final. And there's Ian Marshall at right foot, and that's why these days he's playing up front rather than in the centre-back position. But you know, Neil Webb, I thought, lasted the pace very well, shaking his head there, thinking to himself, well, I thought that second goal was going to be enough, and also probably saying to Brian Robson, what about that save he made from me just near the end as well.
But in a way, the comparison of those two goals, I mean, the one from Manchester United, I suppose it should be said, had an element of fortune. The one from Oldham was really carved out, and that rather backs up Jimmy Hill's observation that Oldham have been the more complete side.
Well, United have never really flowed all season. I mean, they've been worried about relegation, and then have just edged a couple of good results in recent weeks. And then, you know, they're getting away victories in the FA Cup. Here they are, semi-final. They came to today really being the favourites. Oldham just slipping away a little bit in the league, but really, you know, they have been the better balanced side, Oldham. But United seem to have this season have had that knack of always just conjuring up that winning goal whenever necessary in the FA Cup. We shall see whether they can do it again here in extra time.
Well, the managers have said their words, and the teams are to play as they were in the second half, which is Manchester United defending the goal to our right. Marshall, whose goal brought about the extra time.